We are high above the capital of Côte d'Ivoire, or Ivory Coast, in Abidjan. Would you like to introduce yourself?
The economic capital is Abidjan and the political capital is Yamoussoukro. Some people don't know about it.
Thank you for the correction, the very valuable correction. So we're in the New York City of Ivory Coast. There's actually a sort of a Washington, D.C. equivalent.
Exactly.
Okay, so we might include that, or we might cut it out to save myself the potential embarrassment. Let's keep going. Would you like to introduce yourself and where you work these days?
I'm Dr. Vallée Nanan. I'm the executive director of the Digital Youth Foundation, which is the Fondation Jeunesse Numérique in French. So since 2016, we've been accompanying tech startups in Côte d'Ivoire here, domain agnostic, but all with a tech component. I'm also a lecturer and researcher at the Higher African School of ICT, ESATIC, which is the public school of ICT, so where I teach system administration, system and network security, because we need to reinforce the skills of the people who will become entrepreneurs or employees tomorrow, right? What we want, what we all want, is that the digital economy takes a bigger and bigger part in the GDP of the country.
Now, you're in a unique position and doing something that I wish more of us academics did. You don't just teach, you're not just involved in a university, but you're involved with government and the real world. You work with startup founders.
Yeah.
What do you see as the things that are most needed? Is it just more capital, more training? You mentioned something in there about cooperation on training, is that right? Mm-hmm. So what are the needs?
So you said the both needs that I was going to express. The most important needs today are definitely the skills reinforcement, so human capital to be built, to be improved again and again, and the funding. Because a lot of projects, very good projects, never develop because of a lack of funding. But the first thing for me, if I had to choose between both, the first thing would be the skills reinforcement, the human capital. So we're working on that within the school, but also outside the school. So at the foundation, for instance, we'll have training sessions from time to time. This coming Thursday, all day, we will be learning about artificial intelligence at the foundation with startups from the foundation, startups from outside, students who want to come and learn more about AI and how they can use it on a daily basis, etc.
So this is incredible. It's not capital that is the number one limiting factor. It is know-how, you would say. It's training, it's education.
For me, it's know-how and then funding. Yes.
And what about connections? Where you've worked in the United States, we were joking that you know the Boston area, some parts of it better than I do. Which is I'm a Boston native, and you know my city better. I need to catch up with you on my Abidjan knowledge. But here's the point: how much do you think that it's the networking and the access to relationships that actually is even more important than knowledge, or does knowledge still trump everything? Knowledge is number one, maybe then network, and network allows you to access capital?
I mean, I'll take a very specific example. I do know a lot of people, may it be in Côte d'Ivoire, in Europe, in the US, because I worked in several countries during my career. There are some startups that I was able to help using my network, plus the training and the funding that we've been providing. There are some startups that today, in spite of the network, we don't manage to get to the level where we would like them to be, because they need to spend more time investing in their own training on certain things. Like for instance, to be able to deal with some investors, we ask them to come and participate in some specific trainings, and this is key because you can have investors waiting, but you need the person to be able to convince. You need the person to be able to have a very strong file to present. So for me, training, maybe because I'm a lecturer, but training remains the first. The skills building remains the first thing.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say as somebody who's lived in the United States? It sounds like you might have lived in Europe too. Anywhere else that you've lived?
In Europe,
yeah. All right. So any myths that are out there, I have to share this, that so many friends and family are like, oh my God, you're going to these dangerous, exotic places. I'm like, no, it's just an interesting, awesome place with interesting people doing interesting things. Are there any other myths? The mythology. Is there any myths that you'd like to bust about Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, or any part of West Africa?
Well, I would say that it's possible to live very well in Abidjan.
Yeah.
As in a lot of Western cities, it's possible to do very interesting and high-level jobs in Abidjan as in other places. I used to live in Paris, I used to live in Boston, I used to live in Valencia, in Spain, I used to live in London, but I decided to come back and live here. I didn't have to. I could live in Europe, but I decided to come here. I could have stayed in North America, but I decided to come back to Côte d'Ivoire because a lot of interesting things, and plus the quality of life that we have here, the flexibility, the ability to have so much impact daily, for me is totally priceless. I'm working with the entrepreneurs. I see them going from here to there, year after year, and for me this is priceless.
Last question would be, since you're so into training and you clearly have a passion for the mission, we were talking about the Africa Arena platform because they share everything there. The application's free and you can see old recordings and teach yourself, even if you can't afford to go to the next city. As long as you have a smartphone, you can learn there. Any other free resources that young entrepreneurs in Africa or anywhere, where would you suggest they go? YouTube? This YouTube channel? I mean, where could people go to learn more?
There are a lot of MOOCs today with a free training, right? So I'm not going to give names, but plenty of MOOCs.
Okay.
Myself, I keep on learning. I'm a teacher. I keep on learning. I have to learn.
It's true.
And what we tell the entrepreneurs, what we tell our students, is that they should never stop that learning process. Never. That's the only thing. Like on top of your spiritual life development for me, that you should never stop doing on a daily basis. So free platforms, you have several ones. At the foundation, for those that we have accompanied, there is a free platform to keep on learning about digital entrepreneurship.
Do you want to mention it? Do you want to mention the foundation's platform?
It's not open to everybody.
Okay.
It's for the alumni of the foundation.
Okay.
But also for those in Côte d'Ivoire, for instance, you have the MTN Digital Skills Academy platform, where you can learn a lot of things for free as well. So and MOOCs, in general online, just keep on learning and be aware of what is going on in terms of innovation, in terms of entrepreneurship around the world, because your potential competitors can come from anywhere. So you need to be aware of what is going on. You need to be aware of the main innovation at the CES Las Vegas, at Vivatech, at the Transform Africa Summit, whatever it is. Just keep track of those innovations and measure yourself, compare yourself to the best ones.
Linda, thank you so much. Of all the recordings, we lucked out with the lighting behind us of the Riviera. Lighting and the sound are best. There's less people in the room. And all right, I'm sorry to blindside you with a trivia question, but do you know what the story is behind that pyramidal building? Is that some kind of retro future aspirational architecture of the 70s? Somebody said Alliance Française is in there. Do you know the story?
Actually, yeah,
You do?
It was. I don't know the exact story, but it's a very old building. Actually, when I was a teenager, I used to go to the gym. There was a gym in the underground of that building there. So it's been there for decades.
Okay.
And I think that someone was pioneer in modern architecture and did that, and that's wonderful to have it in Abidjan. Even Postel, the tower where we are now, you should show a picture of that tower.
Okay.
It's the most feminine building I've never seen. It's pink, it's round, it's wonderful in its shape, and it's the telecom building. I'm very proud.
do check it out, and check out, if you're ever here, if you can get in, the furniture in the lobby also is like, wow. Anyways, Abidjan has many little surprises that make one want to come back. So merci beaucoup. À bientôt. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine.
Yes, hopefully we have a chance to work together.
Thank you. God bless you.
Au revoir. À bientôt.